Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Bavarian and this is Crusader Kings 3, but something is different today. I'm on camera, I'm talking to you directly, and that is because I have become a Humble partner. Humble Bundle of course has some really outstanding deals, and this one interested me, which is why I was saying, you know what, let's sign up for the affiliate program here, because this is the EU4 Complete Collection. With this collection you get 33 DLCs for EU4, they are redeemable as Steam keys, and they only cost you $18.19. It is honestly insane, because this value is something that, especially when it comes to EU4 that has so many DLCs, can't be overstated. This is redeemable on Steam, so if you have the game there, if you are lacking any DLCs there, you can without a doubt, you know, redeem it right there, and you can support me at the same time. The link will be in the description and of course in the pinned comment. If you support me, then I can keep the series going as per usual. And that's it from me. Hey, I hope that you have a great time with EU4, and I'll see you in the actual episode. Alright, and so here we are in CK3, and when you look at this territory, when you look at this area of Aquitaine, then you might say, what a peaceful little area of land. But you would of course be wrong. Things have been very dramatic, tumultuous in recent years. Prince Vela, fuck yes, somebody that, you know, thought of themselves as a hero, as a grand person, has come down crashing. Everything has crashed and burned all around him. He has been excommunicated. His family, at this point, I think it is fair to say, is fairly against him. The woman that he thought would be his future wife, even though, you know, it would go against all social standards. The woman that he thought he loved, even though he basically didn't know her, and obsessed about a woman that he had no idea about, she rejected him. And he had to take it in stride, because after all, he was busy in a war right after, and she sent him money to support him. She, you know, must have forgiven him for his transgressions, the transgression being that he tried to put some feelings onto her that she didn't reciprocate or really ever ask for. So at the end of the day, things are a bit confusing, I would say, for Prince Vela. That is also why, of course, he has been very stressed out in recent years. He had to, you know, sort of hide his lustfulness, and then when he went crazy with it, he got an excommunication for it. He has turned, instead of being compassionate, he has turned wrathful. He is now in a position where he acts against people, and he acts quite aggressively against all those that wronged him. Now, before we start here, before I unpause, I want to take stock of our friends, our enemies, and those in between. I think there are some enemies that we doubtlessly can point out. Duke Ramiro Piarazes, we didn't really attempt to have a war against him, but we did when we ousted the ruler of Armagnac. I think you might remember we ousted the Gelones family. Conde Lope Fernandez was slain in a battle against us, of course, and then we got the title that we desired, killing the Gelones family line in this area. Then we also had to have a war against Conde Anfos Fernandez, who rebelled against us and is now in our prison. He also is, of course, of the Gelones dynasty. These people, doubtlessly, are our enemies. This is also Duke Ramiro Piarazes. We don't think ill of him, but we know that he thinks ill of us, and this sooner rather than later may see escalation. Definitely not from our side, but I do think that Vela is quite wary. Then we also have Duke Gilles Aznares. Now we viewed it as simply taking what is ours. We gave the land that rightfully should have this entire time, I think, belonged well to us and to our brothers, that we are the sons of Fakio. We took that land in Basconiaco, and Gilles has never really gotten over it. He still is very much negative towards us, although he is terrified. He has seen the excess that we have brought against our enemies, the destruction that we have, you know, brought towards their houses, towards their castles, and maybe he won't act on it, but we have to keep our eyes on him. And maybe even more importantly, the question does remain: who was involved in this excommunication? So, ultimately, this excommunication was brought to us because of Comtessa Marthe of Poitiers. She was indeed, or she is, allied to our former enemy Conde Anfos. And in this alliance, when she was at war with us, trying to, you know, bring a rebellion to success, despite this rebellion, of course, being against the principles of feudalism, she excommunicated us. This was part of the war effort against us. So, the way I will treat this is that Prince Vela basically sees the excommunication as something that occurred because he may have gone too far. Yes, he tried to start things with married women. Yes, he let, you know, his lust get the better of him. But he sees Conde Anfos he sees Comtessa Marthe and quite possibly Duke Gilles as the people that pushed this excommunication upon him. Does he deserve it? I think maybe he says yes, but he will also say that the excommunication is the worst thing that has ever happened to him, and he will take revenge for it. There is something in me where I was basically saying maybe he also blames Lope II Catalines, because Lope II, if you remember, was the man that disowned his brothers, or well, that disowned our brothers, you know, that made sure that they had no land and no area of retreat. Now, something that I've thought about for quite some time is, of course, our relationship going forward with Jezenda. She has rejected us, but she wasn't cruel, she wasn't nasty. And at the end of the day, you know, we have to see how deluded was Vela. Was he so deluded that he can't be woken up, or could he be woken up? Because, I mean, I pointed this out in the last episode as well, he didn't really know Jezenda. Yes, they are friends, but she has been in the English court for years and years and years, ever since she was, of course, 16. Well, 17, I guess. That is when they actually married here. So I will say, Jezenda Lopez probably, you know, is something or somewhat of a person that understands that he had a childish infatuation and he couldn't really shake it. But now, after she confronted him, after she said, you need to stop this, maybe he simply learned his lesson. There is, you know, one of those things where this could become a blind rage, a rage against Jezenda, against the world that wronged him, but I don't think that Prince Vela is falling into this. Yes, he is wrathful, but he couldn't be wrathful against Jezenda. Yes, she rejected him, but she simply isn't the person that he thought she was, and ultimately he is the only one to blame for this false, you know, understanding of it. And more importantly, she still supported him. She looked at him and said, here is money, here's support, please keep your power, keep it together. You can't fully die in a ditch, you know, we don't want this to happen to you. So Prince Vela, I think, actually is quite thankful to Jezenda. He was deluded of, you know, these textbook stories about, well, grandeur, knighthood, of Romans and so on, and he now understands that this isn't the world that we live in. So ultimately, I do think that, you know, he doesn't forgive her because there's nothing to forgive. It's more that he gets over the delusion that he had in the past, and Jezenda stays on his side as a friend. Now, the last person that I want to evaluate here is Erega Asna. We still think positively of him. We think he is the rightful leader of the Kingdom of Aquitaine. Despite being deceitful, lazy, and zealous, we think quite highly of him. He, on the other hand, thinks fairly negatively now of us. He has a reason as well to imprison us. We are excommunicated. We are recently excommunicated, but if you take both of these modifiers away, we are only -4. We are still fairly neutral. He seems to be a person that is quite forgiving, that says, yes, you've made mistakes, and yes, maybe I have to bring the hammer down on you because the church demands it, but know that you are my family. Know that this fight, this feud, has no place in this realm. So I think currently, I am not really anybody that wants to oppose the king. Now, let's suppose the people that I marked as clear enemies. I will revoke Bordel. I see no choice but to bow to your decision to strip me of the Condado of Bordel. And so, you have been stripped of it. I will also, despite this being tyranny, revoke Marzana. All of these titles in Basconiaco will be mine, in my possession. Now, of course, this is something that brought us 30 tyranny opinion penalty, but I hope that we can equalize with Prince Louis. If I say Louis, you will get a part of what we just gained. You will receive Armagnac. He still dislikes me, of course, but he is intimidated. Now, I have no hate. I have nothing but friendship and brotherly love for Louis in my heart. I rewarded him with Armagnac because, well, it is not in our capital. It is not my land. I don't want to be from there. I am, of course, from La Pordie. That is where my, well, part of the dynasty came from. So I hope that we can sort of, you know, get over this and have a bit of a brotherly and, at this point, uncle-ly relationship with our vassals. Because now it is only Zentulo and, of course, Louis. Now, after we have revoked these titles, gained a number of negative opinions, let's torture Anfos Fernandez. Yes, I think this appropriate. He loses stress here. It makes a lot of sense. We have been so stressed out. Life has been incredibly difficult. And now finally we have one of the people that have always been against us, that have wronged us, the Jealous monsters. We have him in prison. And he will learn what it means to be one of our enemies. And so will Tagwid. He will see that we made an example out of this monster, this disaster of a person. Now, we also have Con the Yemen or the Wallcracker in our prison. I will release him against, you know, what is appropriate for a man of his stature to pay to be released from prison. But here, Ricard Martes de Poitiers. You may have noticed that Marthe was the lady, I went back and watched the footage, that got us excommunicated. This is her son and primary heir. Ricard, you will never leave this prison. You, much like Anfos, will be my playthings, the people that I torture. And with that, I do think that Prince Vela has firmly entered a bit of a Dark Knight sort of arc. We are in a situation where we will never satisfy the demands of the church and of society for what makes a noble knight. The chanson de geste, chivalry, none of these things really come through for us. In the end, we are a very powerful fighter. We are a very capable fighter, but we are also a terrible, terrible person. And with that, we are torturing them. He has become our rival. Very interesting. I could listen to these screams for hours. He has not gone insane, but he is doing very, very poorly. I will move you to the dungeon, even if it, you know, is worse for your health. Without a doubt, you go to the dungeon. Now you, he gained stress, because they are brave, right? That makes a lot of sense. He also did not become a lunatic. Oh, and he immediately died. Yeah, look at that. Died under mysterious circumstances. Isn't that interesting? He has finally perished in my dungeon. To think that I will live in a world free from that churl, and to think that I was the one who brought it about. I'm so happy I could dance. Oh yeah, my rival Anfos has died. It gains me prestige, I suppose, because we have outlived our rival. Further pushing the story that we are an invincible knight. Maybe not, you know, somebody with a lot of merits, but we are an invincible knight. And there goes the stress, of course. I will not move him to house arrest. He stays exactly where he is. I could marry. I know people have pointed out I could marry, but I do think that we will be pursuing, well, not romance, but we will be pursuing seduction quite a bit more going forward. And I don't think that I want to get married. I'm still bitter, of course. I can't really hold it against her, but I'm still bitter that my romance didn't work out. And I don't want to have to share my bed with any other woman that, you know, at least in an official capacity. I still think marriage is something holy, at least for me, myself, you know, personally. And I can't have it, so I won't be marrying with anybody. Now, we are still fairly weak. Let me see. Are we doing everything we can here? Yes, we are, of course, increasing county control. We have accepted the ransom right there. Prisoner moved from to dungeon. All of this is perfectly fine. I think we are doing quite okay for a person that is excommunicated and that has been faulted. The most important things to look out for here is what Duke Gilles Aznares will be doing and what Erega Aznar II, what both of them have on their mind. Now, we are already down to almost no stress level. I guess that is what happens if you're wrathful and your rival perishes within your dungeon. What a glorious, glorious life we may lead going forward. Whether we actually will, I don't know, but obviously I will try my best. And I think we should build up La Pordie. We now hold a wonderful, wonderful strip of land right here, very much at the center of Bascognaco. The road here goes directly through it as well, and our duchy as a whole, I think, actually dominates trade, because we hold the, I believe this is the Via Regis, right? Via Regia, that goes all the way towards the French capital as well. At the end of the day, we have secured a very important, a very powerful strip of land, but you know what? I could build up a trade port, but I am wary of the enemies around me. Let's build up some barracks in La Pordie. I must be defended, and I must defend. Ooh, and this is pretty cool. Erega Aznar II has actually turned Gasconniera. Look at that. So with that, first of all, we see the beautiful, beautiful Gasconniera color right here. Look at this beautiful burgundy, Bordeaux. Really, really nice, and this means that he now is the cultural head. Listen, I'm okay with that. He is the king, and he should determine the future of our realm. I don't think he can implement anything. For the cheapest cultural options, you will need 2,000 prestige. He is quite a bit distant from that. Her favor hook has expired. Right, yeah, she did have a favor hook on us, but I don't think we need to worry too much about that. She didn't use it, and of course, I released... Oh, you know what? I should have roleplayed. I wasn't aware that she held one on us. I should have released him without pay. I would have done it had I remembered it, and then Condessa Anna would have, you know, basically we could have acted as though she had used that favor hook to get her husband free. That is my bad. My ward Condes in Tula has come of age. What did he become? a very lackluster leader here, I think. Oh, well, with that, you do deserve a place on the council. What are you good at? Of course, the military, but Prince Louis is, of course, already in this position. I think you can become a steward instead. Yeah, you are quite okay as a steward. I will move you over there, and then I will make you our new marshal. You are still fairly unhappy with me. That is the recent excommunication. The tyrant, of course, needs to start ticking down. But see, what I will say is, I've seen the debate in the comments in my Discord. I don't think that just because I am excommunicated, just because I go so heavily against the norm in the Christian church, that I will move out of Catholicism. I am not very religious, never have been, and it would be ridiculous to assume that I would know enough to kickstart, you know, Waldensianism or Cathar, any of these. I think it would be a bit too much. I don't think we will be converting. Neighboring ruler lost a war. Wait a minute, so he lost his war, I assume? Yeah, look at that. I think his wife and maybe his family were imprisoned. He was slain in a battle just 3 years back. Navarra seems to be in a bit of an unlucky situation. Now, tidbits from far away. Visiting the local market, a merchant from a faraway land catches my attention. Come closer, my lord. Marvelous treasures never before seen in these lands. Had to watch my back to get these beauties out, I did. Never sleeping with both eyes closed. This merchant might have more to give me than marvels from afar. See, normally, well, in the past, I may have said I will pay you, or please tell me your stories, but we are a different person today. She will tell me what she knows. Absolutely. Did we get the negative? I don't think we got the negative modifier here for threatened merchants. Indeed, we didn't, and that is just absolutely excellent. Yeah, we are a terrifying person these days, and Prince Louis actually also converted. Are you Gasconiera as well? Yeah, he is. I love that. And my uncle Lope has died now. So even if he participated in the schemes against me, we can't punish him for it anymore. And with that, because that is how theocracies work here, we now have a randomly generated person, Cassio, in charge of Aquitania. I do still hold claims on the counties of Aquitania. I may challenge him, maybe not in person, you know, as a warfare situation, but maybe I will challenge him in court. We shall see. There is, of course, an interaction where I can ask Rega Asna. Ooh, and I am now very negative. Oh, I'm not in the council. Wait, and he made adulterous advances. He did. Huh. He doesn't have the trade. He doesn't have a lover. Wow, my opinion just went into the gutter. If he puts me on the council, I will feel much better about it. But, yeah, wow, that is quite something. Very, very negative now. Interesting. Ooh, ransom. You're never seeing him again, Martz. You're never seeing your son again. He will die in my prison, or he will escape, who knows. Ah, and look at that. Erega Asna is attempting to honoring me. I will very highly value this, for sure. Right, I will become the marshal. That gives me a big bonus here. And you know what? Can I actually change my feudal contract with you? I would love to become a march. Absolutely. We could do this, basically, right? My levies go up, my levy obligation, I become a march. I am situated right here at the Pyrenees towards Navarra. I am also in a position where if I became a march, I would say, Erega Asna, I am a traitor. Or rather, I am a traitor to the church. But please, please do forgive me, at least on the secular level, and I will join your wars. I think this is a compromise that we can have here, where once I am a march, I will join the defensive wars of Erega Asna II. There you go. We have just created this exact contract. I'm very happy about that. I think that is fine. This, you know, gives me something, gives me an interaction. It might even make it so that I go against Munster. And speaking of Munster, people were confused what happened here. But basically, she died. No, wait, he didn't die. There you go. He abdicated. There you go. Erland abdicated and Konungr Steiner unified the holdings that their father had in Munster and in Brittany. You can see that they held more of Munster at some point, you know, making it so that this title was generated on succession, and now they are the Dukes of Munster and Bertangaland. Nothing too special, nothing too unique, but they are unified. So maybe these peasants, or rather these heathens, are here to stay for even longer now that they are indeed unified, but honestly, they're not that powerful. They are not that powerful. If I create some men-at-arms, or even if I don't, and simply take my knights, we might be in a position where we can challenge them. It's an interesting predicament. Now either way, Lately, it feels like I'm constantly being distracted by lascivious thoughts and erotic fantasies. With all the hardships of my everyday life, it's all too easy to lose myself in daydreams and forget about reality. These desires are clearly interfering with my life, but what should I do about them? So, I will in this instance not take rakish because I'm a big fan of not simply going to a nameless brothel. I'm a big fan of seducing women. What this tells me is that I should simply go and, you know, well, seduce some ladies. We are currently not really doing anything either. I'm not gonna convert. I'm gonna eat the stress. It's not too much. We are almost stress-free anyway. And then we will take a look around. And there was a woman that has been at our court that has been very helpful that I will try to seduce. We have a 0% chance because she is so negatively impacted by me, or rather her opinion is so damn low. I could blackmail her. Yeah, that's not a good start to a relationship, I don't think. You know what, why don't we just sway you? Wow, that takes a lot of time. Could I, with the next perk... Oh yeah, this home advantage. You know what, we're gonna wait for the home advantage and then I will try to seduce her. I think we will start, you know, trying to build a bit of a relationship with a woman in our court. I think I have already romanced her. I will try to seduce you then. Dazin, let's see what we can get done. I'm a lustful man and I will live it out now that I'm no longer saving myself for Jazenda. This was, of course, one of the main motivations in staying, you know, very chaste, going against our very own nature, but all of that is out of the window now. I am excommunicated, I can't be the valiant knight, and Jazenda reduced us to rubble on a romantic level. The current generation of young men from Lapodie have won fame for their bravery and strength while serving in my armies and garrisons and defending the locals against bandits. Very nice, strong lads for 15 years. Wow, that is excellent. My god. They bring much honor to their families, and I think with that natural control growth, we should be pretty fast at getting back to it. Now, I could pay homage. It's actually an interesting thought. I think I might pay homage, simply demonstrate submission, because I do want to do it, right? I do want to say, my dear friend Erega Asna, I pledge allegiance even though I am excommunicated. I will humble myself if necessary. You know what? Absolutely. Servants usher me into Erega Asna II's great hall in Carcassonne, where he sits his throne waiting to hear my pledge. I kneel at the feet of my lord and pledge the many oaths of homage as his scribes record the event. With that, the ceremony is complete. I have nothing to offer my Erega except my promise to faithfully serve as a vassal of the Erezuma. Asna bids me to arise and confirms his satisfaction, along with my rights to the lands I rule in his stead. This is very, very important. The king accepts us as we are. I think we are about to become a loyal knight of Erega Asna II, and I'm wondering, I could probably petition him to, yeah, get a pardon, and he is very, very, very unlikely to grant it to me, because he might want to be revoking a title of mine. Erega Asna, I beg you, please, do not do it. Ooh, this will secure us. This will make it so that he can't act against us. Yes. I will create an alliance with Erega Asna. Absolutely. We are brothers. Well, not literally. He is my nephew, but we are brothers in arms. And I will support you whenever I must. And this, comes at a great time. Because König Herbert, the alliance has expired. I have to assume they are no longer married or betrothed. Did you divorce her? He divorced her. I mean, she did. She's a leper. What do you want me to say? Understandable. Okay. Louis. I wonder whether he marries somebody else. I could arrange a marriage, but that wouldn't be the way that works properly. But interesting. So he divorced her, actually. There is a lack of, I think, connection to your spousal partners these days in our families. After all, we have abandoned the Basque principles of taking marriage very, very seriously here in the Gasconiera culture. Interesting nonetheless. I am very interested in all of this, quite frankly, because we haven't been imprisoned. I was so set on us probably going to be imprisoned. You know, with being excommunicated, with him having a reason and everything, but now we are allies. We are friends. I will be supporting him, of course. And I will take revenge on those that deserve it. Everyone appreciates a gift, but perhaps I could come up with something truly unique that will make a real impression on Dazin. I could make her an embroidery, commission poetry on the joys of life dedicated to her. You know what? Absolutely. I don't even need to, petition this. We are, a good poet, even though we may not have the trait. And there you go, a dedicated poem. It appears to have worked. Thank you so much for the poem. I can scarce remember the last time I received such a wonderful gift. And hopefully this again will bring us into a situation where we can sleep around without having to do it with unnamed NPC brothel ladies. A medical debate. I'm listening to a debate between two local physicians on the best way to treat a certain medical ailment. Though I don't understand everything they discuss, their expoundings on various medical theories and ideas, such as the four humours, how the various organs of the body work, and what herbs are most effective, are strangely fascinating. Oh, nice. How learned they must be. Did I get another trait? I can't actually tell what I did. I should have checked. Ooh! And now this is a big change. He has passed High Partition for the Kingdom. Aquitaine now follows the High Partition law. Something that I never did, but the AI now did. This actually is very, very, very much something that I love, because it makes it so that this kingdom is now cemented. It will stay together, as it is, and look at that. Descartes Martes has passed in my dungeon. Well, that is how it ought to be. She hates me, and so she should. But she should also fear me. I will take Comtessa Mart down. I swear it. Very, very nice that he died in our dungeon. That is indeed the wrathful nature of our character right there. But yeah, we're going to have a very strong AI kingdom. I like it. Means that I don't have to be king to keep it together. In my dreams, I find myself as a soldier in a world torn asunder. Ash and smoke fill the skies as I stand in my muddy trench, wearing outlandishly shaped long robes. I glance around and see other men dressed the same way and conclude this is a uniform of some sort. Nearby, I hear loud noises, like as if thousands of buildings were collapsing, so I cover my ears and close my eyes. We dreamed of the First World War. That is a bit of an Easter egg event, I guess. No man's land. Oh, we're still in the dream. Fearfully, I glance over the trench and see nothing but black mud at first. On the ground from one end of the horizon to another are stone-cold corpses with open eyes and still bleeding wounds. Suddenly, another loud crash, this one closer. As men around me begin to shout words I don't know, I see other soldiers grasping their weapons, which are strange, hollowed spears with crooked handles. I do understand, despite my terrified state, that I am to go over the muddy trench I am currently in and charge at some enemy on the other side. I duly grasp my hollow spear and follow the others over the trench. I scream as I see metallic horses and birds the size of houses swoop around me, while loud explosions rock everywhere. Men fall down like paper burned by a never-ending inferno, from flying pebbles that tear them to pieces. Others are blown to pieces as thunder strikes seemingly arbitrary places on the ground. This is the future of humanity, I realize. There is no future, no hope. This is the war to end all wars. That the world shall end in an apocalypse of fire and hatred. I wake up sweating. Was that a vision of the future? Surely not. But if it was, how much longer until our descendants witness such horrors? A century from now? 2 centuries? 10? Dreamt of a war to end all wars, and I may lose the trait Wrathful. Oh my god. See, this is an Easter egg vanilla event, but I am so interested in this. We could interpret this as the future. Or we could interpret this as hell that waits for us, an eternal struggle and eternal suffering if we continue on our way. We stay wrathful. We do not learn from this. And I could become a witch. You are kidding me. Sometimes I feel like a stranger in my own castle. I can't help but notice the odd looks my courtiers give me, the unease that fills any room I walk into. What happened to my life? Why am I not welcome amongst my own people? I'm an outcast, just like the Horned Guard. Wine may be my only true friend, or maybe this is just all in my head. Listen, I'm gonna roll a die. There are so many interesting ideas on where this roleplay could be taken based on this event. I'm gonna roll a die. This is a stress event. It's unforeseeable anyway, right? I want to see what we get here. All right, so let's take a look at this. What do we get? We got the 1. Kidding me, right? I'm an outcast, just like the Horned Guard. What are we becoming here? Who the hell is Prince Vela? I'm thinking about this, right? Sure. I mean, he couldn't get what he wanted, right? By following the rules of the church and society, and so he looks elsewhere. We had witch cults, maybe we still have them in this realm. We know this for a fact, because we had, what was her name? Ida. Duchess Ida of Toulouse, who was a verifiable witch. Who knows who else was a witch? And now we seek the guidance of the Horned Guard as well. Damn. I am not sure where we're taking this, but I think Prince Vela will be a fantastical character. Maybe he will just crash and burn yet again. But this is something, I think, for the next episode, where we will start to look into this. We will start to satisfy our lust and to see whether the vision of hell that we had is truly destined for us, or whether we can find glory. Anyway, this is where we ended here, and I will see you later, alligator.